Just a small idea to take us into Shabbat. Parshat Chukkat is the Torah portion that we will be reading this week. Lots of very famous stories that take place, but the one that I think we'll mention and the one that I think we'll focus on is the episode of Moses, our great leader, striking the rock. Why was this a problem? What was going on? Let's take a couple of minutes just to analyze it, and let's try and see if we can learn something that sheds some light on our lives in 2022. You see, this isn't the first time that Moses has struck the rock. He was asked to do so way back when, some almost 40 years prior, when the Jewish people were crying out for water. They had nothing to drink, and so God instructed him to strike the rock. And as a result of that, the Jewish people were treated daily, every single day, all day, every day. They had a water source on their doorsteps whenever they needed it. Now, what's interesting about this water source was that it was given and granted to the Jewish people in the merit of Moshe's sister, Miriam. And in this week's Parsha, Miriam passes away and the water dries up and the Jewish people get thirsty again and they cry out again. And Moshe has to be able to get the water somehow, some way. And God says to Moshe, okay, this is your moment. You're going to go and speak to the rock. And the rock is going to gush forth with water once again. And we know from the story that he doesn't do this. He strikes the rock, and as a result of this, he is sentenced to die in the desert, never entering into the promised land with the rest of the Bnei Yisrael. And it's a very peculiar and complex episode to understand, and to understand what exactly was going on there. But there is just one idea that I think we can talk about in 1 or 2 minutes, which I think is profoundly relevant. And the idea is as follows. See, the reason why God wanted him to speak to the rock rather than to strike the rock is because he wanted Moses to understand that they were about to usher in a new type of relationship. Standing at the brink of the land of Israel, scheduled to go in so very soon after having spent 40 years wandering around in the wilderness, the game was changing. The style of relationship between the Jewish people and the Almighty was changing. No longer would the Jewish people be given everything for free. No wonder would they have manna delivered to their front door by God. No longer would they have water flowing past their houses delivered by God. No longer would their clothes grow on them. No longer would the path in front of them be miraculously smoothed over to make the travel that much more pleasurable. No. When entering into the land of Israel, the Jewish people were destined to have a relationship where if they needed something, they could talk to Hashem, and Hashem would grant that thing that they needed. It's the concept of prayer, the concept that when we are in need of something, we turn to the Almighty and we plead and we ask him for it, and then God grants it. Now, there's 2 very important things that I think we can identify over here. Number 1 is the power of prayer, which should never be underestimated. The ability that we have, the connection that we have, the relationship that we have to be able to turn to Hashem, to pray for the things that we need. And he, being the source of all of those things, please God, he will grant the things that we need. Not necessarily the things that we want, but the things that we need. That's number 1. The number 2 is to appreciate the power of speech that as human beings we are all gifted with. You see, animals might be able to communicate in quite a rudimentary way, but as human beings, we have an amazing capacity to build or to destroy with the things that we say. As the saying goes, life and death are in the hands of the tongue. We are gifted with an immensely powerful tool that can either lift people, build people, shape people, make those around us feel good, or conversely, we can shatter people and demoralize them and demotivate them and ruin things for them. We have that power. Not only that, but we have the power, according to Jewish thought and to Jewish law, we have the power to literally create things with our mouths. We have the ability to make things permitted to us or forbidden to us. We have the power to infuse, if we take a simple thing like an apple as an example. So Hashem says, before we should eat an apple, we should make a blessing on it. By saying those words, we transform the reality of that apple from something that wasn't destined for us to something that was destined for us. When we make a promise, when we make an oath, when we make a vow, when two people stand under a chuppah, and we say those words, Hareyat Mekudeshet, we use our mouths to literally redefine reality, to literally change the course and our relationship with objects, with people, with all the things around us. It's an immensely powerful gift. It's an immensely powerful tool. And so we should always try, God willing, to use it for the best, to use it in ways that enrich the lives of those around us and enrich our lives as well, to be able to use it for blessing and not, God forbid, for the opposite. And please God, in so doing, be the best people that we could possibly be. Shabbat Shalom and good luck.